So you're a philosopher?
Yes, 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 yes. I think very deeply. I think very deeply.
That everyone is talking about. A 25-year-old woman leaps from the trunk of her car after being kidnapped at gunpoint. She makes a dash for freedom into a convenience store.
What happened?
Please don't put him like this.
What happened?
He's been trying to rob me.
Call police, call police, call police, call police.
The owner kept the woman safe in a back room until cops arrived. Today, the victim is being hailed a hero. She seized her chance to escape after the kidnapper drove into a gas station in Birmingham, Alabama, where he used the woman's ATM card to withdraw money from her bank account. Then, as he drove off, she popped the trunk and jumped out. Would you know what to do if such a nightmare ever happened to you? Inside Edition producer Allison Hall shows us what it's like to be trapped inside the trunk of a car.
It's really tight back here, and I can hear everything. The engine roaring, going over puddles. It's pretty terrifying.
Every car made in America after 2002 has an emergency trunk latch, just like this one.
Where will I find that? How will I know that it's there?
Different cars have different spots. If you have your phone, use your light from your phone, or even with your eyes closed, feel along the trunk or the sides. That pull release will be there.
The lever is right here. I can see everything right now because we have a flashlight, but as soon as I turn this flashlight off, it is pitch black in here. But even in the darkness, I can see the lever here. So it's glowing really brightly. I'm gonna try to pop open this trunk. Let's see what happens. Look at that. That was so easy.
Is there a right time to actually pull it? Should the car be stopped?
You don't want to wait for that car to be stopped because you don't know where it's going. As soon as you steel yourself and you feel mentally and physically ready, pull that latch and run for your life.
So I just wanted to take a moment to address this whole issue that's really, it's like really going out of control in regards to this, the disappearance of black women, the kidnapping of our children. Right now, we're talking about 75,000 plus black women are missing right now. 75,000 plus. 75,000 plus black women are missing. So, and we're also talking about every 3 minutes a child is being forced into the underground sex trafficking world. Every 3 minutes. This is according to the research and statistics. One evening, I say about probably almost a year ago, I was sitting in this parking lot. It was during the daytime. I would say probably roughly around 3 o'clock. I had just come out of the shoe store, and I was sitting in my truck, and I was messing with my radio. When I noticed this little sister, she had walked across the front of my truck, and she was just heading to her vehicle. So she had crossed in front of my truck, and her car was parked right next to my truck. And I watched her go around my truck and go into and sit down in her car. So, I sit up high, she kind of sit down low. So I glanced over there a few times. But the thing that really caught my attention about her more than anything was how she was in her phone and oblivious to everything else going on around her. And the reason why it stood out to me is because I had noticed some things in the parking lot that kind of caught my attention. Kind of had me a bit alert. So when I looked at the little sister, I see her over there, and I looked at her about 2 or 3 times. And I noticed she's sitting over there messing with her phone. Her windows is down. So I decided to get up out of my truck and walk over there to her car. And I approached her car from the driver's side. And here's the thing that I noticed, that as I was walking behind her car to approach around to her driver's side of her door, I had watched her head from the back as I walked. Not once did she look up and see me coming. She was that engulfed into her phone, she did not see me coming. When I pulled up on the side of her car, I smiled and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she gave me a light smile and said, I'm okay. And I then followed that with, about 15 years ago, I used to pull my gun on people sitting in their car like right now and make you get out. I told her about 15 years ago, this is about the time that I would have pulled my gun and made you get out. And I said it like in just the calmest and simplest manner. And then her face got kind of blank. She didn't know what to expect, and I'm sure she had never heard nothing like that. And she probably like maybe mid-20s, something like that. And I seen how she kind of like glanced around, and because now she's aware. And I told her that the reason why I'm approaching her is because I noticed how unaware she was of her surroundings. And I told her that how I watched her come out, and how she was on her phone, how I watched her sit in her car, and also how when I was approaching her car, I watched that she not one time looked up and seen me coming. And then I pointed out to her that I said, look over there on your driver's seat. I said, you got your purse sitting over there in your driver's seat. And it's one of those big old purses, like the kind of, like it's like wide open, like the big purses y'all be carrying, which that's a whole nother story, but I mean a whole nother conversation. But I don't think that most of y'all even need all of that, man. A purse really don't add to your appearance, ladies. A purse is a magnet for criminals. A purse kind of just really gets in your way. It's some additional extra. I mean, I think that is, if you're not, you should only be carrying what you need. A lot of stuff y'all haven't, or y'all had in there forever, and you really just don't need it. But again, that's a whole other conversation. So anyway, I showed her that the person was sitting over there on the driver's seat, and the window was halfway down, that a person could easily have snatched a purse out of the car and took off. And while I was talking to her, a person could have snatched it out. So she kind of like, you're right, and she adjusted her window. I then told her, I know that the way I approached you was a bit different and it kind of startled you. But relax, because I'm not your enemy. I said that I approached you the way I did because I meant for it to startle you in the way that it did, because I believe that in the way you felt or feel, you may never forget it. And every time you walk out of a store, out of a place, you will be more aware of your surroundings. Ladies, this is a very weighty conversation, I would say, because there's so much that needs to be spoke on and shared. But this is one thing I will say that I want to try to keep this concise as possible, but this is what I want to say to you. Be more aware of what's going on. Pay attention. The sister that was in Houston that caught the lift, she said she was on her phone. She wasn't paying attention that the driver wasn't even going the destination. He was making all these turns. When she realized it, he done made a number of turns already. Man, get off the phones. Stop getting on the phones running your mouth so much. I know I said it like that, and I hope that don't offend you, but I'm saying, get off the phones, pay attention. When you're not in the safety of your home, the safety of a locked vehicle with the windows up and the car running, when you're not in the safety of somewhere, pay attention what's going on around you. Once you are in the public, always take in your surroundings at all times. Always take in your surroundings. Pay attention to the people that's sitting in parked cars and cars in the parking lot, cars on the street. Pay attention to all of that. I mean, you just have to equip yourself. Don't think just because you carry a gun or you carry some pepper spray or you carry a knife that that's all you need and you good. Nah, you need to also make sure you train with it. And not just every blue moon, you need to train with it. Kind of, consistently, and I'm saying beyond going to a range, you need to be put in circumstances, in situations where someone is tussling with you, and you are able to do things to free yourself to get to your weapon, or so on and so forth. Just maybe you can utilize it to get yourself in a very safer place. We are your protectors, but men aren't always there. A lot of women are single, and you also have the unfortunate reality of that a lot of men or males don't have lost their feeling or their inclination to even protect you. I remember I had put a post up maybe like a year or two ago where I was explaining how I don't even like movies that abuse women. I'm saying I don't even like movies that abuse women. I'm beyond that point. I don't even like movies that abuse women. I've never been a bully, and for me, whenever a man attack a woman, to me that is more along the line of a bullying thing to me. It's just one thing I've never been okay with. But again, you are the prey. You are the one that's being snatched up and put in these vans, taken out, put in sex trafficking world, being taking your organs and things of that nature. I mean, you're the one that they're after. The black woman specifically, the black woman, the least protected on the earth, the black woman, the most disrespected, the most despised. You have to start taking measures where you are being respected, but you also must first respect yourself and treat yourself respectively. You gotta watch the terminology you use in regards to yourself, because terminology shapes your thinking. It shapes the thinking of those who hear you. It shapes the thinking of those who utilize also those same terminologies. Self-love. So what I say is, again, stop stopping late at night getting gas, or want to run to the grocery store when it get dark, and I mean just all the ripping and running that you do at night. You have to stop, because living in life and war and love, all of it is a thinking game. It's not an emotional game. Our feeling play a whole nother role. It is not designed to rule and take over the show. Your mind, your intelligence, your intellect is supposed to always be the ruler of your physical body, of your flesh. Your mind, your higher self is supposed to always be engaged. Be more aware of what's going on. Start watching the news. I know a lot of you don't like watching the news because you say it's too negative, and you just don't like all that negative information in the news, but I'm telling you, you have to start watching the news. Why? Because the news has the reality, and it's going to arm you with the level of caution that you should rightfully have. Not to walk around in fear. Fear paralyzes you. Fear paralyzes you. Fear makes you stupid. You are supposed to be cautious, though, so that you can prepare, so that you can be aware, so that you can take the proper measures to make sure certain things are less likely to happen to you and yours. I think that's all I'll say for right now. But if you have any questions, feel free to get into the comments, DM me, message me, email me, whichever you prefer. Peace and blessings.